Hello, and welcome to Around the Political World with John Rothman. I am your host, John Rothman. If you're a fan of the show, make sure to hit the follow button on the top right of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you are listening at this very moment. When you hit follow, leave a review or share an episode with a friend. It helps other people discover the show, keeps us going, and expands our base. As we approach the election, I have a simple question. Does truth matter? We have heard Donald Trump and Republicans spreading myth information about what is happening right now in the disaster in the wake of Milton. We know that hurricanes, tornadoes, and all the rest are ravaging that part of our country. And we know that at this very moment, the Republicans are spreading myths about FEMA, saying they're not there, they're not on the spot, they're not doing what they can. Donald Trump is raising questions about whether FEMA is doing an effective job. He's accusing the President of the United States of not talking with Republican elected officials, including governors of the states like Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina. We know that is not true. The governors themselves have stood up and said so. But does it matter to Donald Trump? No. He and the Republicans continue to spew myths about the amount of money available, what the Democrats, as they put it, are not doing. And let me tell you something, this is pernicious. It's dangerous. Now, more than that, let's be clear. Donald Trump has consistently been a climate change denier. He has said there is no climate change. You don't believe me? Just Google Donald Trump and climate change. You can hear it from his own lips. You can read what he has said. And now we know. We know because we're watching the impact of Helene and of Milton in that part of the United States, which is so critical, so important in the upcoming election. It's going to be a close election, they say, and states like Florida and Georgia and North Carolina may play a central role. And Donald Trump is playing partisan politics. He's going after the Democratic administration. He isn't even supporting the Republican governors of the states in which he is so critically involved in this election. No, I'm appalled. I'm shocked. And I hope the American people wake up and understand. It is not true that Haitians eat cats and dogs. It is not true that global warming is a myth. It is not true that the Biden administration is not doing all that it can for the states affected by these disasters. It is not true that Republican governors have been unable to speak to the President of the United States. What is shocking to me is that Donald Trump is politicizing. And yes, too many in the Republican Party are politicizing this. Can you imagine? There is even rumor, speculation that the Republicans are spreading that the Democrats are manipulating the weather. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Jewish space lasers, remember that? Is at it again, saying perhaps the federal government has been manipulating the impact of these disasters. It is a partisan political attempt to turn a disaster into a political issue, and more than that, to discredit the federal government. So let me start by saying what Donald Trump is doing is wrong. Number two, FEMA is doing a great job. Number three, the Democratic administration in Washington is working with the Republican governors. Number four, that these kinds of rumors and accusations, this misinformation, is damaging to all of us, not just those who live in the affected disaster regions. Do I sound like I'm upset? I am. Why? Because traditionally, in a disaster like this, there are not these kinds of rumors, these suspicions, these pernicious lies which are being spread. And when you can imagine that the President of the United States, from the Oval Office, has to say that you've got to stop spreading these rumors, this misinformation. When it comes down to it very clearly, the American people need to take a hard look at what Donald Trump and his minions are doing right now. So I want to be clear this morning with you. Truth does matter. And you cannot have a campaign for the presidency of the United States, which, well, is where we are right now. But we have it. We have it. And therefore, it is incumbent upon all of us to stand up and just say no. So I'll tell you what I'm waiting for today. Now that the storm has passed, a second storm has passed, now the storm about who told lies must begin. Oh yes, the process of rebuilding, the state cooperation with FEMA, the bipartisan work between Republicans and Democrats. That's what needs to be touted. But when for partisan political purposes, we find Donald Trump and the Republicans, too many of them, simply thundering forth untruths designed to scare people, let's remember something, that in less than a month, the decision by the voters in Florida, in Georgia, and in North Carolina may have a huge impact on the presidential election. I don't want that decision to be made in the wake of lies which are believed. We must hope, and I do believe, that in the next month, the people in those regions, and yes, the people across the country, will be able to hear the truth about what happened. So the question I posed this morning is simple and it's direct. Does truth matter? Will we hold truth above partisan politics? That's my question. It's a question every American needs to ask, particularly in these sad, dangerous times. Thanks for tuning into another episode of Around the Political World with John Rothman. Make sure to follow along and let me know your thoughts on the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts and sharing an episode with a friend or colleague so we can continue to grow and expand, which is, of course, our goal. You can interact with me on LinkedIn and on Facebook, and I also want to encourage you to do that, so that interaction helps a lot. And now I want to say a big thank you to Gogo Zoger, the wonderful producer of this program. Gogo, thanks so much. That's John Rothman's message to you today. It's firm, it's decisive, it's unambiguous. Truth matters.